The United States is reallocating its strategic focus and military resources toward the Indo-Pacific. For Europe, this dictates a transition into NATO 3.0. This pivot forces a structural change in European defense. The theoretical debate over abstract strategic autonomy is dead. Europe must now absorb the immediate, heavy burden of strategic responsibility. But Europe cannot carry this defensive load if it artificially restricts its military-industrial base to European Union member states alone. This schematic shows how NATO 3.0 divides labor through a strict two-tier architecture. The United States retains exclusive control over the upper tier, providing nuclear deterrence, space-based operations, and global strategic lift. That assigns Europe the lower tier. This requires mass force generation, localized conventional deterrence, and continuous heavy industrial ammunition production. Executing this requires moving away from temporary combat groups. The alliance must rely on highly networked framework nations capable of commanding permanent, multi-domain operations. The European Union is attempting to build these capabilities internally through a framework known as the SAFE Initiative. But this pie chart exposes a mathematical roadblock. Approximately 80% of NATO's total defense spending comes from allies outside the EU. Europe cannot secure itself without the United Kingdom's naval reach, Norway's dominance in the Arctic, and Turkey's massive industrial scale. Isolating these powers mathematically hollows out the continent's deterrence strategy. The primary barrier freezing formal integration between NATO and the EU is political, specifically the long-standing Cyprus recognition dispute. A legal workaround already exists. 5 current EU member states refuse to formally recognize Kosovo, yet they successfully maintain practical day-to-day cooperation with it through flexible diplomatic status. By decoupling the bilateral recognition issue from the broader defense architecture, Ankara could permit formal NATO-EU talks while maintaining its legal position on Cyprus. This allows for a reciprocal opening where the EU grants Turkey access to continental defense industrial programs. Turkey already supplies indispensable assets to the alliance. It hosts NATO's Allied Land Command in Izmir, scales mass drone production, and constructs advanced naval platforms like the TCG Anadolu. Managing a coalition this physically vast requires a dedicated institutional mechanism outside of the US-led NATO core or the EU Exclusive Council. The historical Western European Union provides a tiered structure where non-EU allies like the UK, Turkey, and Ukraine hold a functional voice in strategy. This model creates an inclusive European Security Council, uniting the continent's military weight under a single strategic bloc. The broad, inclusive political body is a mandatory requirement to operate the European pillar of NATO 3.0. The future architecture of European security must align with geographic and industrial realities, rather than rigid institutional borders. A politically fragmented defense industry invites external aggression. A fully integrated Euro-Atlantic network is the only viable path to survival.